Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I am sorry, I know this video is going up a day later than it normally would. I know I've been really bad about that recently. But again, promise to always get at least two videos up every single week for my channel. Hopefully 3, and hopefully once all of this like spooky Halloween traveling engagement party madness is over, I will be back to my normal scheduling. However, today I'm excited to talk about the latest release from Adam Nevill, and this is The Vessel. I just got this in my recent Nightworms package. I was really excited about it. I do really like Adam Nevill's writing, but he is one of those authors that can be really hit or miss with me. So this one I was shocked to see is so short, because Adam Nevill's books are usually quite long. I'd say they're usually about 300 to 500 pages, some maybe 600. But this is just under 200. It's about 160, I want to say. And I read it in, I think, 2 days. Super, super creepy cover, very reminiscent of the cover for Cunning Folk, which is the last book I read by Adam Nevill. That was his 2021 release. And let's chat about this. I'm going to read the back of the book. Struggling with money, raising a child alone, and fleeing a volatile ex, Jess McMacken accepts a job caring for an elderly patient, Flo Gardner, a disturbed shut-in and invalid. But if Jess can hold this job down, she and her daughter Izzy can begin a new life. Flo's vast home, Nerthus House, may resemble a stately vicarage in an idyllic village, but the labyrinthine interior is a dark, cluttered warren filled with pagan artifacts. And Nerthus House lives in the shadow of a malevolent secret, a sinister enigma determined to reveal itself to Jess and to drive her to the end of her tether. Not only is she stricken by the malign manipulation of the vicarage's bleak past, but mercurial Flo is soon casting a baleful influence over young Izzy. What appeared to be a routine job soon becomes a battle for Jess's sanity and the control of her child. It's as if an ancient ritual was triggered when Jess crossed the threshold of the vicarage, a rite leading her and Izzy to a terrifying critical mass where all will be lost or saved. So this was a 4-star read for me. I'm just going to come out and say it. And very much like Cunning Folk, I really enjoyed like the story and tone of this novel. Wasn't crazy about the characters. I feel like Adam Nevill has been doing really well with like plots and concepts recently, but not so much on his character development. Didn't really care about any of the characters. I found them all kind of unlikable or one note or just very stale. That being said, I thought the old woman in this was absolutely terrifying. I thought the way she reacted was really creepy, really unnerving, very strange. That being said, the story is very brief. I know Adam Nevill said that he wrote it to originally be a screenplay, which is the same thing that he did with Cunning Folk. However, unlike Cunning Folk, he decided to write this pretty much without any internal perspective from the character, so everything would be what a viewer would just see on screen, minus a couple flashbacks. And he talks about all of that in the closing notes of this novel. That being said, I read this last week and it's already becoming very fuzzy in my brain. Like, I understand the plot and the characters, but nothing really stuck out for me. Again, Nevill gets definitely very overly descriptive, as he has been doing quite recently. And there are just a couple scenes that were just so over the top and overly descriptive, and they're supposed to be very horrific and strange and mysterious. And I was so caught up trying to read the descriptions of the location and what was happening that it kind of took away from the horror. There is no like truly crazy cosmic entity about this book that kind of shows up at the end. There's definitely some like, I would argue like witchcraft going on. But there is no Adam Nevill like crazy cosmic energy moment at the end of this novel. Everything is very much just character derived. So how do I begin talking about this? This one was a simple read for me. Again, it's one of those books where like you think you know who the villain is, and then the other villain that's kind of been hiding in plain sight like reveals itself. And I don't know how I felt with this, because when you create the red herring of one villain, it creates plot holes in that character's backstory and the illusions that we're getting and the implications we're supposed to make by the things that are happening. Case in point, and I don't really want to give too many things away, the relationship between Flo and her son, to me, just opened up a lot of plot holes. Like, I think I understand why her son thinks the way he does, but it also doesn't quite make sense when you get like the grand reveal on who Flo is and what Flo is doing. And that really stuck out to me. While I am always down for like, and I really don't, I'm trying so hard not to talk about this book without ruining it, and it's so short. Well, I'm always down, let's talk about covens, right? Like, cause I'm gonna just refer to it as a coven. Well, I'm always down for like the idea of like a cult or a coven. I think the exploration into this one maybe needed some more fleshing out, because it just kind of comes almost like, what is it, Deus Ex Machina, where it just like kind of like appears and like saves the day. And I found that a little jarring in this book as well, and maybe not necessary. Like, I don't know. I just found that we have characters who make a lot of stupid decisions over and over and over again. And at the end of the day, this is a story about a woman finding and holding her own, being able to become the provider and the protector of somebody who is in a really crappy situation as a child, a very confusing situation, and the mom pretty much trying to come to terms with that and explain it to the child and protect the child. That is the core root of this story, told through a lot of weird, excessive, spooky, vague, nefarious characters. I'd say the standing point, like the standout part of this novel is definitely the setting. The manor house that Flo lives in seems really cool and really eerie and really weird. I kind of like that the house almost takes on its own character. I love the descriptions of the rooms and the paintings and the garden and the woods that surround it. I thought it was so cool. I love all of the paintings that hint to things that are going to come into the story. And just the more that you read about the house, the more the story kind of unravels in the best possible way. That being said, the setting and the mystery of why everything is happening the way it's happening and how it's happening is really what holds the book together, versus reading about characters who I think are constantly making mistakes. Again, the purpose of some of these characters is to realize that they are making mistakes and to kind of atone for them and to rise above them. And I really liked the story of Izzy and her classmates. It's a very cliche, kid gets bullied and stands up for herself kind of thing, but I really, really liked the scene where she finally stands up to the bullies. I thought it was creepy and well done, and it made sense to the overall story at hand and her relationship with Flo and her relationship with her parents. And I thought that was great. One of the things that I think really bothered me about this book is it definitely raised some flags about like just issues with like jobs and how they can exploit their workers regardless of your hours, or if you have to find childcare or something. I work in an industry that is very exploitative of their staff's hours and time, and I thought this book did a really good job of just showing like employers just not caring about the people who work for them, or their reasoning, or their personal lives, or like their buzzword work-life balance kind of thing. So that was definitely cool. I do like when you weave like things that are happening in real life very subtly into horror stories to kind of highlight the horror that takes on, and I thought that did a really good job of it. Is this my favorite thing by Nevill? Absolutely not. I don't think his writing has been as strong since he has been on his own independent publishing company. I really, really loved No One Gets Out Alive. I thought Last Days was fantastic. The first half of The Ritual is absolutely terrifying. But I still did enjoy this, and I liked this a lot more than Cunning Folk, and a hell of a lot more than The Redditing. So I'm interested to see what he does next. I know that he has written 3 screenplays, 2 of which have now become novels, and I'm hoping that there will be a 3rd one. But I do kind of hope that afterwards he maybe transitions back into just writing a novel as a novel, because I understand and can see where the cinematography and film thought process went into both this and Cunning Folk, and though he used 2 different strategies in taking on both of those novelizations of these screenplays, I do think I prefer when he just writes a novel at the core root as a novel. So that is all that I have to say on that. Again, 4 stars, I like it. If you're a fan of Adam Nevill's writing, you'll probably like it. Again, definitely not the first book I'm going to recommend if you're new to the author, but it is very short, and Adam Nevill usually doesn't do short, so that is definitely a bonus, and the cover is terrifying, and the woman who is featured on the cover in the story is really creepy and unnerving, and I thought she was done very, very well. Setting gets an A+. Neville's always really great with settings. So yeah, that is all that I have for you guys today. As always, I post every Monday and Thursday, sometimes on Saturdays. And if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe buttons down below, and I will catch you all in the next one. Mwah.